IELTSspeaking.ca. IELTS Speaking Part 2 and 3 questions related to water and water sports. Part 2 topic about water sports. And Part 3 questions related to water. In Part 2, it is wise to try to use the 2 minutes of your long term as much as possible. Remember that the task card that you're given has 3 bullet points and 1 ending question. You can use these to help you to develop your answer by thinking of 1, 2, or even 3 ideas to talk about for each of those points. You can support them with explanations and examples to help fill up your answer. Try not to pause too long without saying anything. If you believe you've said as much as you can, it's all right to say, well, that's it. That's all I have to say about that. Now, the Part 2 model answer to the topic about water sports. One water activity that I would like to try is scuba diving. Although some may call it a sport or hobby, to me it seems more than that. It looks more like an underwater adventure full of delightful surprises. I'd wish to fly down to a tropical area in Australia and dip under the surface of some beautiful crystal clear water that is full of abundant marine life. Diving around the long Great Barrier Reef, just off the coast of Queensland, might be one of the best areas to do it in. If I can't make it there, another similar tropical spot will do, as long as it isn't too dangerous. I ought to tell you that sharks give me the creeps. Before the first diving experience, I heard that you need to receive proper training and learn a lot of safety measures. And it also requires a fair bit of equipment, such as a mask and oxygen tank. Although I may have to do more research into this, I believe that in Australia there are many specialized scuba centers that provide everything you need. And you could begin diving in as little as a day. There could be more than 1,000 reasons of why I'd want to go scuba diving. One of them is to see something new. You know that about 70% of the world's surface consists of water, and under that surface is a completely different world. Who wouldn't want to see mysterious underwater caves, colorful coral, or weird creatures like starfish and swordfish? I also desire to get away from the noise. I'd like nothing more than hearing the sound of my own breathing and perhaps the singing of a humpback whale. Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? That's why I'm so excited about going scuba diving one day. That's all I have to say about that. Here's some vocabulary that can help you in a Part 2 question about water sports or scuba diving. Now, let's turn to Part 3. When you're asked a Part 3 question, be careful about using the correct grammar tense. Sometimes the examiner may ask you to compare nowadays to the past, so be sure to use present and past tenses. You may also be asked to predict the future, which will involve use of future tenses. Remember that examiners are considering your grammar, which means your grammar range and accuracy. So you want to be able to use a variety of structures and tenses throughout your responses. Now, let's give some model answers about Part 3 questions related to water. Hmm, I believe that the most popular water sport in my country is swimming. This is because just about everyone I know learns it at a young age, and they usually enjoy doing it as a recreational activity. In every city and town, you can see many indoor and outdoor swimming pools that are full of people at any given time of the day. And in the summer, a lot of people like to flock to the lakes and rivers to dip into the water. I'm not exactly sure why. I suppose it's because being near water is a kind of relaxing activity that sort of makes you feel like you're in a dreamy state. For example, when you're floating on the water and looking up towards the sky, you almost feel like you're in a different world without stress and pressure. Also, there is nothing better on a hot day to jump in a nice cool body of water. It's so refreshing to feel those first few splashes or cool breezes against your body. That's something I haven't thought about much before. I guess that when transporting goods or people by water, the boat or ship is able to hold a lot more water than what a car or truck can hold. Another benefit is that, well, you don't have to create any roads or train tracks. The rivers and sea are already there. As for the disadvantages, one thing that comes to my mind is that it is a slower process. Crossing the ocean by plane can be done in less than a day, but by ship it can take weeks. These vessels can also pollute the water, which isn't good for some of the endangered sea life. Yes, it seems so. Nowadays we have airports, train tracks, and roads all over the place. It's so easy and fast to go just about anywhere and by any means. Before the turn of the last century, however, we had very little of that. Many people used to have to get around by horse or on very bumpy and sometimes even muddy pathways or trails. The best vehicle for long distance travel at that time seemed to be wooden ships. They used the waterway system and they were the equivalent of our roads and tracks. We had to greatly rely on them, and it's no wonder that towns had to be located near lakes and rivers. Well, it's certainly true that we were made mostly out of water, and all plants and animals need it to survive. Without this substance, there would be no more life on our planet. Wow, just imagine that. We need to drink it daily, and it needs to be clean without any large traces of toxic pollutants. Right now, many of us take water for granted because there is such a large supply of it. However, there is fear that this can change in the future, and although I'd hate to think about it, it could cause major disputes and maybe even wars. Currently, in fact, there are regions of the world that are suffering horribly. I believe that there might be about a billion people on our planet without access to clean drinking water. Oh, what a mess. It's a big and terrible problem that should be resolved. Thank you for watching.